Welcome to In Real Time, where we as Heights Church are inviting you in for real conversations about leading people, organizations, and change in the new normal. We're hoping that our real discussions about our church's journey will help you as you reimagine and rebuild yours.
My name is Tim Layfield. I'm one of the pastors here at Heights Church. But now, as you probably know, if you've been watching these past few podcasts, this is in real time, in the meantime. Pastor Craig's been on sabbatical, and so we have decided, well, with permission.
Of course. We didn't just do this on our own.
Clarify. We have been empowered to come up with some topics. And so today's topic is things that staff want to or should be talking to one another about. And so I am joined with some of my incredible team members here. We serve on the management team. And so first off,
I'm Jennifer Alessio.
Yeah,
and
you
I
are.
serve as a children's pastor, and I serve on the management team.
Yes, right. Excellent.
Yep. And I'm Ryan, and I serve as the worship and production pastor here.
That's right. And coffee guy. And
I aspire to be one day.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a fraud right now, but I am drinking the Starbucks. So that might put me down, might put my stock down right now for saying that. I got to be honest. We're on a leadership podcast.
Yeah.
You know?
And honesty is
the best policy.
Is the best policy. So I just want to encourage you, if you are a senior lead in an organization, this episode might be the one you want to encourage your staff to listen to, because this is all about what we mentioned earlier. This is how staff should be communicating. Yes. This is the things staff should be owning, creating a healthy culture on staff with one another. And I think it should be happening outside of the senior lead in a positive way, right? In his vision, in all of that. And so we thought this would be an important podcast to do. And so we're going to be considering three things during this podcast. One is conflict, accountability, and the importance of fun.
Yes, we love our fun around here.
Yeah, we do. So let's start by talking about conflict, because the one thing we know about conflict is it's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. Personalities, ministries, departments, they at times are going to clash. So let's unpack some of the ways as staff we can kind of step into conflict in a way that's going to be healthy.
Well, I think the first thing is to keep in mind, what do I need to own myself? So looking at our own personal responsibility, and then taking initiative and going to the other person and talking about it.
Right.
And just putting it on the table with humility, realizing that this is my friend, this is my coworker, this is my brother or sister in Christ. Yeah. I value them. And I know that they're not just trying to be mean to me. I can trust that they have my best interests in mind. And let's just find a way to move forward so that we can work together in a spirit of unity, with peace, with grace, and treat our coworker the way we want to be treated. And something that I always try and remind myself is that I don't need to be right. My goal here is that we can find common ground and move forward.
That's right.
And if I have that goal in mind, and I remember that this is my friend, and I need to treat this person with the same respect I'd like to be treated with, it goes a lot better.
That's right.
Yeah, but that takes a lot of work.
It does, because not everybody, like you said when you first start out, we got to own what we have to own.
Yes.
That can be hard.
It can be hard.
Especially if we feel like we're right.
And let me just say this. Sometimes what I need to do is I need to deal with my emotions first. So if I need to spend time with the Lord, get that in check and get this thing first between the Lord and I first, it's going to go a lot better. Yeah.
So sometimes you have to take a step back and not just react. Because you want to respond. You don't want to react to the situation.
You want to respond because you want something productive to happen.
Yeah. Right.
So good.
I like that you said that, because that's the goal. Like you said, conflict is going to happen. When you work with a team, when you work with, fellow staff, it's going to happen. So we just have to accept that. But one of the things that I always try to remind myself is, like you said, conflict can be resolved to a healthy thing.
Yes, it can.
And so, as I'm thinking about this, I can think of past experiences where, I've heard before, our, previous teams that I've been on, just from experience, that the claim was we're healthy. And I was like, great. Cause I took it as face value when I heard the phrase, oh, we're healthy. Okay. That's good. But as I, continued, being part of, that team, or, I uncovered the fact that they're healthy meant avoid conflict.
Oh man.
Yeah. And that's the opposite of
And
healthy.
that really irked me.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was looking to have conflict.
Nope.
I was just realizing that there was alliances starting to form between different, staff members.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I want people to hear when they're listening to this or watching this is that our team, we truly have each other's interests in mind, best interests in mind.
Yes.
We're not, like you said, we're not looking to one up each other. That's never the heart here.
Right.
Craig has really set a clear expectation that we work together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So if there has to be conflict resolution, Craig is actually really good at it.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to challenge anyone that's listening, like conflict is okay. It's going to happen, but how you resolve it is going to be beneficial or it could be detrimental to your team.
Yeah.
So,
And I would even say, if you're not having conflict, you alluded to this, Ryan, that means you're actually not being honest.
Yeah.
And so having
point.
conflict is a sign of a healthy team.
Right.
Right.
It shows that you're being honest with one another
Right.
and you're dealing with the issues as they come up. So having conflict isn't necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. It's how you respond to it.
Yeah, because as staff members, we all have different perspectives. We have different pasts. We have different experiences.
Oh, yeah.
We have different makeup in our personalities.
Yep.
And so we are going to experience and respond in different ways. So that in of itself means conflict's going to happen.
Yes.
Right? But one of the big things I've learned, I was just sharing this with somebody today in a meeting, and you alluded to this, and it's, I don't need to go into a conflict situation, a resolution situation, wanting to win the argument. I want to win the relationship.
Exactly.
And move
That's
forward.
good.
Exactly.
At the same time, taking in, you had mentioned also the aspect of humility. Humility is at the root of all of this. Healthy conflict resolution only happens in and through humility.
Yeah.
And that's how you own what you need to own. And part of, like, when I early on years ago, early as a pastor, I was a pastor first, second year pastoring, I was dealing with an intern, right? A worship intern. And all my life being a driver, I wanted people to tell it to me straight. Like when I played football, the coach grabbed my face mask and was yelling at me, telling me I couldn't do this or you need to do this. I literally took that as, watch and see. I responded well to that.
Yeah.
Well, I went into this conflict resolution with this worship intern. He was probably 18 years old. And I'm like, here's what I need you to do. Here's how it's going to get done. All I need to know is, can you do this? And I said it with that kind of, because that's how I would receive it.
Yeah.
And you were with intensity, right?
Yeah,
It was
yes.
intense.
Yeah. And sometimes this comes across a little too intense. And I need to understand that. And I learned that our worship pastor at the time pulled me aside, a man that I deeply respect. And he said, hey, man, you just shut that guy down. You're never going to get anything you want or anything you think is good for the team.
Right.
Because he doesn't receive it that way. So knowing the personality traits, knowing how people receive information, it's not just, that helped me understand that going into it just wanting to win and get a result, I probably could have gotten the result I was looking for in a way that was uplifting, won over the relationship,
Right.
and was going to be overall better for the ministry at that time.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely presented in a way where just caved this young man in.
Yeah.
And everything's good now. That was 25 years ago. But
Right,
anyways,
right. Yeah.
But that's important.
Absolutely.
And, humility is something we've got to learn and practice, and it all comes from that. I didn't, in the moment, to be honest, I didn't agree. I was like, whatever. Yeah. But then the Lord kind of bent me over his knee and basically said, hey, you need to learn something here.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
conflict resolution happens not trying to get your own way or trying to win, but like
Yeah.
you said, win the relationship. And humility has to be at the very base of all that. What are some other things?
If I could add to that, one of the things that I've learned, from past experiences that, there were some things that the Lord worked within me years ago through, I had a pretty bad temper, I really avoided conflict because, I uncovered throughout, the last few years that a lot of it was attributed to, my past and my upbringing. But, the Lord's done a great work in me. And I told myself at one point that I don't want to be the apologizing party. And not to hold that against someone.
Right.
But I want to hold myself to a standard where, if I keep my mouth shut, I don't just react for the sake of reacting.
Right.
But like you guys said, in humility, always try to find, what is this person really saying? And and that takes a lot of discernment. Okay, this person's coming at me. They are upset or they're demanding things from me and I don't agree with it. But what are they really saying? Right.
Right.
And I remember at one point, when I was first starting out in ministry, I remember dealing with some pretty tense situations. And I told myself and I told my staff at the time, we are not going to be the apologizing party. We're always going to say, we're always going to respond in grace. Yeah. We're always going to say the right thing. We're always going to say the right thing and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I've held true to that.
Yep.
And I've had experiences where people have come back and apologized. Again, it's not to hold it against them.
Right.
But they saw in the moment after, things have settled, they were like, I'm sorry. Yep. And I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to give each other grace.
And reality is that idea of not wanting to be the apologizing party isn't an arrogance thing. It's actually humility. Actually, it's fruit of the spirit of having self-control.
Yes.
Saying, I'm going to conduct myself in a way that honors God so I don't have to come around tomorrow and apologize for what I said yesterday.
It shows wisdom.
Yeah.
It shows wisdom
Absolutely.
and realizing I don't need to keep doing this thing that's going to hurt someone's feelings.
Right.
I'm going to shift myself.
Yeah.
But it also means that if I need to apologize, I will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And-
for sure. Yeah, because you're not saying I'm not gonna. I just don't
Exactly.
want to be. So therefore, I want to conduct myself appropriately.
Jennifer,
Exactly.
you were saying something earlier when we were having just kind of a discussion before we filmed this about family.
Oh, family systems theory.
Yes. How
Yes.
go ahead and explain that because I thought that was really intriguing.
When we come into like a work environment, any type of system, we're going to bring with us our past experiences, right? So if in our family of origin, we didn't address conflict, and if someone blows up or something happens that we don't agree with, we don't address it. We act like it didn't happen. We sweep it underneath the table.
Yeah.
Unless we do a lot of work to learn to do different, we are going to behave that way in the workplace.
Right.
So family systems theory would just say that we're going to behave in the same way that we grew up behaving.
Right.
Yep.
Unless we choose differently. Now, we all can choose differently.
Right.
But that's just helpful if we see someone that's on our team or any aspect of our leadership is struggling with conflict. It's just helpful to remember, like, hey, they probably grew up responding this way.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
They
a
don't
good
know
perspective.
any differently.
Yeah.
And so let me come alongside and help them and give them some tools.
Right.
And also explain, hey, you don't have to be scared of conflict.
No. No.
Conflict is actually healthy. That helps us grow. And when conflict comes up, it actually makes a team closer together.
Yeah.
And I would say that we're closer as a management team.
Yes.
Because we have dealt with conflict.
Yeah, 'cause
Absolutely.
There's been some things where
Yeah.
we've not knocked down, drag out. We haven't done that, but we've been honest.
We have been
We've been
honest.
honest.
We've been honest.
Definitely been honest.
And we've dealt with things,
Right.
but look how much closer we are.
It's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, and that because
Very
as a
good. Yeah,
team,
I
love that.
and because we're as a co-workers taking these steps to have healthy conflict.
Exactly.
And not just conflict, but things we're going to be talking about with the accountability and the fun.
Yeah.
We can give the other person the benefit of the doubt, knowing, man, Ryan's not a mean-spirited person, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly.
There's something that's happened, and you don't take it personal. You just like, hey, we'll get to it, and it's giving people that space to know that we have no idea what's going on sometimes.
Yeah.
And we just going to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to offer grace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to offer grace.
I'm going to offer grace.
And before I make a judgment, I'm going to ask a question.
Yes.
Like, hey, can you tell me what you're feeling right now?
Yeah.
And then that that disarms the tension that you may be feeling.
Yeah, that's you, because we talked about this as we were kind of talking through our notes. This is you giving that person the opportunity to unpack.
Exactly.
Because that's important. Like, hey, tell me what you're thinking. How did you get here? What are you feeling? Are you okay? Or whatever. Have I offended you? Anything. You give them the opportunity to speak. And that gives us an opportunity to be a good listener.
Exactly.
A good listener. Because each person should have an opportunity to respond, to discuss it out. And normally, don't you find, like, when you have that kind of atmosphere, that kind of thing happening, when people have the opportunity to share, you're really not too far apart.
No.
Usually you're like, actually, we're not too far apart. And you get to unpack it, and then it's like when you mirror somebody, what they say, here's what I hear you saying. Sometimes you share, they share, you go, oh, I wasn't hearing that correctly. Or I took it differently.
Oh, yeah.
It allows you to kind of move forward easy.
We say this word all the time, clarity.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I've used that word probably 1,000,000 times in the last 2 years that I've been here. You know, hey, could you clarify that? Could you bring me to clarity? Like that's, we all got it from Craig. That's what Craig says a lot. That's how we start our meetings. You know, is there any clarity that we need on for anything? And so I find this all helpful, honestly. And it works.
It does, absolutely.
That's
genuine care and respect.
Yeah.
Genuine care and respect. So here's the goal, right? Here's what I wrote here for the goal. Here's the goal. Our goal is not to be right? It's wanting to have a healthy working relationship. That's the goal.
Yes.
We want to work to have grace and patience. And there may be things going on that we don't know about. So I'm going to trust their heart. And then I'm their friend. I'm their coworker. And together, we're going to move forward.
Exactly.
And what I love is that this leaves space for us. We don't have to agree on everything, but because of the respect that we have for one another, because we genuinely care, that allows you and I to be able to go, you know what, we're just not going to agree. So let's figure out a way we can move forward so that ministry wins, the church wins, the kingdom of God wins.
Yeah.
Because that's really what's more important, not that we've won the argument.
No.
And we have more peace.
Yeah. Feel good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else on conflict before we move on? And there's a ton. We could probably make.
There's a ton.
There's a lot.
I think that's a good start.
It is.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Humility. What do you need to own? Have these open conversations. Give people the benefit of the doubt. People are going to receive it differently. There's a lot of good stuff there. So accountability. We talked about the accountability as far as accountability to one another as staff members. Like what? Someone unpack kind of that big idea of what that would look like.
No, that's a good question. I, you know, in real time, last week before we filmed this, you know, I had an interesting week. You know, I there was just some things internally I was dealing with.
Yeah.
And you know, I still showed up to work. But Thursday morning, last Thursday, I remember texting Jen, who's one of our associate pastors here, and I said, "Hey, Jen, I hate to do this, but I'm going to take PTO for this, but I just need a day, like off. Like I really need this. Like there's just a lot going on internally." And, you know, one of the things that I really appreciated is that, you know, she responded and she said, absolutely, that's fine. You know, Craig's not here, but, you know, we're just trying to stay in communication with each other. So we all know, like, okay, we know where we're all at.
Right.
And, you know, I made sure my bases were covered. And she,
exactly.
And she was like, well, do you have Sunday covered? I'm like, Sunday, I'm going to be there. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I texted our production director, Josh. I said, hey, I'm not going to be in today, but PCO should be good to go. I got everything that you need to program, because I know a certain day of the week, Josh likes to have
planning center online.
Exactly. Yeah. He likes to have his day to program or get things in order before the weekend. You know, you want to leave feeling really good about stuff. You
don't leave your other teammates hanging.
Exactly. But I needed to let him know where I was. Like, hey, I'm taking the day off. I owe that to him. And what's really just really, I'm just find it so appreciative is the fact that we have a team that just supports each other that way, but also trusts each other. But that comes with not just dropping the ball on all my responsibilities. Right. Yeah. We can have, you know, days where we need it. And so, you know, for me, I drove around listening to worship music, praying. I was just dealing with some things internally, and I just needed to work some things out. You know, spiritually. And so having that accountability keeps everything in check.
Exactly.
Because, you know, I don't know about you guys, but it's kind of a pet peeve, right? If someone doesn't.
Yeah, and you have no idea where they are.
Drops the ball.
Yes.
Doesn't follow through with their commitment. And so it would have been another thing if you're just like, I need some time. And that's it.
Oh yeah.
that would have been a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But we
Right.
knew that
Right.
you had everything covered
Yep.
where Sunday would be spot on.
Yeah.
And it was.
And
It was a great Sunday.
It was a good Sunday.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I think when I think of accountability too, when we talk about accountability it's huge. Again, this could be its own podcast. But one of the things I think about when it comes to accountability is how can I serve the other, right? How can I serve Jennifer? How can I serve Ryan? And it's a conscious decision.
Yeah.
When I come in to my accountability is like, I'm for you.
Yes.
I'm for you. And so
Yeah.
how can I serve these other people? I have my own things I need to do, but I think there's always this vibe around here that we've created, this culture. I keep saying vibe, but it's a culture that we've created that's not an expectation. It just does. It just is. I know that you care about my ministry.
Right.
And I know that you care about my ministry. Right. And
But we just don't assume that.
No.
We tell each other that.
Yeah, we tell each other, and
That's what we. Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
and we no, that's fine.
and we act on it.
And we
Our
act on it.
actions
Yeah,
show that.
we choose to do that, and it shows.
Yeah.
And it's felt, and that is amazing, because I've been at places where you feel like you're in a silo. You're all by yourself, and if you don't figure it out, you're hosed, right? It's a bad situation.
Yeah.
And so there's just not a culture of, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? You're in a silo. And here, I think one of the things that makes us successful as a staff is that we look for ways to serve, and it can be little things. I could see Pastor Jennifer moving a cart full of children's ministry supplies and resources, and I'm going to go run down, unlock, and hold the door. Simple.
Just something small as that.
Simple, small, or big, where we say, I have this big event coming, and we're like, all right, we're all in.
All hands
my
on deck.
workers
Yeah.
are going to be your workers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all those kind of
Sharing
things.
resources, sharing volunteers.
Yeah, exactly. All of these things.
Yeah.
Because I think, we say around here, and it's in our notes, we want every ministry to succeed.
Yes.
And
Because then that's when we're truly succeeding.
as a church.
As a
And the
church.
kingdom succeeds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved, like, when you had kids camp, and I loved that we would get like a daily text message to the management team.
Yeah.
I'm giving you updates. I'm
I
like, this
loved
is
it.
what
Yeah.
happened.
I
every
loved
day.
it. I wasn't here. I did a devotional one day, but I wasn't volunteering every day. But I felt like I was a part of it. And then during the week, helping out. Oh yeah, I'll help do this, and I can bring these things in. And
Yeah.
whatever. But you're right. It's sharing volunteers.
Yeah.
Sharing resources. How many times have you said to us, we're talking about an idea, hey, I've got these things in a closet. You're more than welcome to use these.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? It's communicating. It's that accountability of not just, other things. It's we're being accountable with our volunteers. We're being accountable with our resources.
Yep.
We're a team, and doing
But that's
away.
part of the game plan. We value team.
Again, we keep coming back to that.
I know.
It's like it almost means something.
We actually follow it.
I know.
Imagine that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's another area? Talk us a little bit about, you all right?
I'm good.
See, I care about you.
Yeah, I appreciate
thought you
it.
were going over for a second.
That scared
Man,
me.
I hope that makes
Man,
it.
if you saw that on video, you will
yeah.
laugh. You
Yeah.
will definitely laugh.
I know there's also on another level, we also care about, people's happiness, health, and spiritual growth. Like, we
Yes.
feel like there's a responsibility. Somebody unpack that a little bit.
If you ever hear Craig's heart about just the area of Sacramento we live in, I mean, if that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what to say. But hearing Craig's heart for this community, for this area, I mean, it drives me to want to be healthy and to also encourage, you guys as well.
Yes.
Right? Because if I'm not taking care of myself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, like I'm not doing, Craig any favors.
Right.
I'm not giving him the best, or I'm not giving God my best.
Community.
The community, our church,
your ministry,
the
your
best.
volunteers.
Yes. And I think, we do this in a good way where we're like, hey, how you doing? Just checking in, just making sure like, hey, are we all good? Keeping each other accountable in that way. Right.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I like that.
I think we all know that in order for us to be our best to move this mission forward, we need to be happy emotionally, spiritually, socially, mentally.
Yeah.
All of those physically, all of those affect our leadership. And so, and we're not here for ourselves. We're here for everybody.
That's right.
And so we generally care about each other.
Right.
So if we see someone struggling, we're going to say, hey, how are you feeling?
Yeah, because we care about the mission
Right.
that
Yes.
God has for Heights Church.
Right.
Which means I care about how you're doing, Jennifer, because it matters
Exactly.
to our mission, and you,
Yeah.
and vice, and you care about
Likewise.
how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
You did it last week. I also did it Wednesday. You were Thursday. I was Wednesday. I just shot a text out to the management team. Man, I need a day with the Lord.
Yeah.
I just need an undistracted day with the Lord.
And my thought was, I need that too. I'm going to need to schedule that in
I
2
know,
weeks.
but here's the great part is it's accountability
Yep.
Yeah.
on the level of here's what I'm doing, what you're talking about. But the other level of part of accountability was I was being accountable to you about where I was spiritually.
Exactly.
I was drained. I needed to connect with the Lord.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of to-do lists.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have brought up my phone. I love your guys' responses.
A lot of hearts.
A lot of hearts. Sounds wonderful. Enjoy. I hope it's,
Yeah.
you were for me
Yeah.
taking time off for the Lord because we all need to be at our best
Yeah.
Yes.
for our mission, for what God has for us.
Yeah.
And I'm accountable to you and to Craig and
Yeah.
to everyone, to the person working at our reception office during the week. I'm accountable
Yeah.
to do my best and to be at my best.
That's
so I got to
good.
own that.
Exactly.
But we have trust on our team. So I know that you had your stuff covered.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
That's
Yeah.
the other side. You know,
Yeah.
it's a balance. And
Right.
something that I think about is I want to bring the best of who I am here every day.
Yep.
And I'm expecting everybody else to do the same thing.
And we need to be
And-
happy, healthy, and spiritually growing
Yeah.
to bring our best.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is stuff staff should be saying to each other.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
I'm looking at, how you started the episode, like things staff want to or should be saying.
Yeah.
We've been saying a lot of should be saying.
Yes, they
stuff,
should
I
be.
think.
Yeah, they need to be saying. That's true. And I always sense around here, I know we didn't really talk about this, but I feel led to share it. Like, I feel like when somebody is, hey, I'm going to need a day, I usually hear this question: do you need help with anything? Is there anything I can do while you're taking time? I love that. Do you have anything you need? So people are, again, it comes back to we're a team.
Exactly.
I care about you. You care about me.
Right.
We care about our mission.
Yeah.
And I love that. So it's about being accountable to one another. Absolutely.
And it's not just about the mission.
Right.
As you were talking, I'm sitting here thinking, I genuinely care about every person individually.
Yeah.
And it's just as much as I care about the mission.
Right. Yeah. The
And-
individual.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
I
feel
think
that.
that's God's heart. I know it's God's heart.
I feel that.
That's true.
I feel that.
Very
That's what
good
makes
point.
this place special.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about conflict. We've talked about accountability. This is the one I was really looking forward to.
You're all about fun.
Well, because you're all about the fun.
Yeah, the importance of fun as a staff.
Yeah.
Some people may think that it's resources that aren't well spent. I would argue the opposite. Staff fun days, doing things as a staff during the week ever so often. And it could be as often as you think you need it. It could be quarterly, it could be monthly, a couple times, whatever. That's not for us to decide for you. But staff fun days.
Yeah.
What does staff fun days mean to you guys?
Well, as you were talking, I was thinking you don't even need to have money.
Right.
Because we recently have not had money, but we can still have fun because there's all kinds of fun things are on campus.
Right.
It just takes creativity and
Yeah.
setting time aside.
That's right.
We've even done like potlucks where
Right.
everyone can bring dishes in, and so it's not costing much. And then, we did an awesome thing, an Easter egg hunt before Easter.
That's right.
When's the last time you actually got to be the one hunting,
Right.
not
It's
being the
been
one
decades.
hiding?
Hilarious.
It was awesome, and I
Yeah.
won the big golden egg.
Ah.
I know, so I was really excited
That's
about
right.
that. If you can't tell,
I got ran over
Bragging
by a
rights over
production
here.
guy,
I know.
Josh. He ran me right over. But that's all right.
but it was
I'm
fun.
Not mad.
So it doesn't have to cost money. It takes creativity.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
we're in ministry. We should all be creative.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so
Yeah.
staff fun days are great. And,
Yeah.
and one of the reasons why I feel like staff fun days are doing things together because a shared experience will connect us.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Just like as much as, say, when you go through a very difficult time together, it bonds you together. But the same is true when you do a fun thing, a creative thing,
Yeah.
whatever that may be, it will connect your people to one another.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a shared experience, and it's a fun experience.
And it helps you get to know your coworkers better.
Yeah.
So I know for myself, those times when I get to spend time with someone, say on the production team or the student ministries team that I don't work as closely with,
Right.
it helps me learn more about them.
Right.
So when the situations come up when I do have a conflict, I know their perspective.
Yeah.
And without those shared times when we've had fun together, I don't see them as a whole person. I only see that aspect of them that I've had in interaction at work.
Yeah, and in those fun days, it gives you opportunity for conversations you wouldn't normally have with someone you don't normally
Yes, they're so
run
valuable.
in the same circles. Like when we do staff lunches,
Yep.
you get to sit with people you don't always get to hang out with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And you get
so
to
valuable.
learn. It is. It's really great. Ryan, you have any thoughts on importance of fun?
We like to have fun here.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're always laughing. It's
It's not just special days like fun days. It's every day.
It's every day. I mean,
We do like to work too. I feel like I need to say that.
Oh yeah, no, we like to
Thank you,
work.
Jennifer. Yes.
I'm like, we are productive.
Yes.
But we do
Things
like
have
to
been
laugh.
going smooth since Craig's sabbatical.
Yes.
But
They've been productive. It
yeah,
hasn't
very-
just been fun.
No, yeah, because
But
that'd be bad.
the atmosphere, the morale around our office.
That's what I wanted to get into.
It's a positive
It's
morale.
positive. It's fun.
Yeah, like you were saying.
Yeah.
I think 2 episodes ago, if you're following us, you were talking about your friend, who runs a finance firm, right? I mean, you walked into his office and you just felt this vibe that was just like, man, what is it about this place?
Yes.
I mean, that should be the goal for every staff, every team, every group, So
Yeah. And it's a choice. Like it's a choice. I know for me, I remember Craig, he it was a couple years after I started working here, so a while ago. He goes, hey, I noticed you kind of go around, you bounce around and say hi. And he said, yeah. And he said, why do you do that? I mean, we were just in a conversation. It may have been not that direct, but it was just a conversation we were having. And it's like, I want to go around and see how everybody's doing. It's like pastoral care, but it's not my job, but it was just like, I care about these people and I choose to be like, what's happening? And it's a joke, but it's not a joke. It's really a benefit for me to have my office on the other side of the church. Because if I was where all the other offices were, because I'm an extrovert.
Yeah.
You'd be doing a lot of planning.
You would probably be banning me from your office. Like, Tim, go get something done. But it's a choice we make. And I love it because like I was talking to Pastor Jennifer today, this is like in real time, right?
Yep.
Today, I knew that we had a meeting at 9:00 and I'm thinking, okay, I could be there at 8:30, but I could just show up right at time at 9, work a little later. Because I was tired. For some reason this morning, I was really tired. But then I thought, no, there are some people I connect with between 8 and 8:30 over a cup of coffee. I don't want to miss that. And that was like, get out of bed, get in the shower, get into work. And so it's what motivated me to come in, because I knew we would be laughing. I knew that we would be talking about our ministries and just
Connecting after those Sunday morning
connecting.
services.
Yeah, because we had Sunday. Yeah, because for a film, this is on a Monday.
Yep.
So yeah, it's that choice that we make to bring a positive morale to our office.
Yes.
But the balance, the reason why that works is because we do have clear expectations of what all our job descriptions are.
Right.
Yep.
We're held accountable
Yep.
in an atmosphere of grace and truth.
Yep.
And so that allows us to have fun because we're still able to be productive.
Yep.
And be held accountable to do those things that we're called to do.
Absolutely.
And when conflict arises, because it will happen,
Yes.
you handle it correctly.
Handle it correctly.
So-
We're accountable. All these things
It
go
all just
together.
kind of, it all
It's
links
not
together.
one.
Yeah.
You have to have all 3 areas. You need
Right.
accountability. You need to have fun so we can build relationships.
Yep.
And those 2 things make conflict a whole lot easier.
They
That's
do.
true.
When I know you care about me. Yeah, for sure. Anything else before we wrap this up?
No, I'm good. I'm just glad I didn't flip over in my chair.
Me too. Me
I'm going to have to go back and watch the video. I missed it.
man.
Everyone, it's going to
All
be
I
on
heard
replay.
was the noise.
I already see it. It's going to be showcased on some big screen at our next staff lunch.
Slow-mo.
I'm giving them the ammunition right now, so I should probably be quiet
Permission
about
is
that.
really what I hear you giving.
No, I'm not giving it no permission.
We
But
have a few others we could add to it.
Awesome.
no, they have plenty of content.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks you guys for joining me. Actually, we're here together. We just I don't know why I'm sitting here, but
Hey, you did a great job, by the
You
way.
did. Good
That's
job.
a tough chair to be in.
It is.
it was a lot of fun.
I'm
I
glad you're
appreciate
willing to do it.
Yeah, I love this conversation because it's who we are. It's part of our culture.
Yeah.
And these are conversations and things you either need to be having, should be having with other coworkers, right?
Yeah.
So we hope you like this episode. And here's my encouragement as we leave today. As you look back through these 3 areas of conflict resolution, accountability, and the importance of fun, maybe you identify today or this week, you just wrestle with this idea of like, what do I need to address? Or what can I address today or this week or as soon as possible? Is it the accountability piece? Is it the conflict piece? Or do you just go that route of let's create some fun so that these other areas will be easy to tackle? I don't know what it is for you, but my hope and dream is that you have healthy staff that's productive. They love one another. They're for one another. And the morale is high. So thanks again for joining us in this episode of In Real Time. In the meantime, and I know I forgot to say it at the beginning, but if you hit the like, subscribe, or that bell notification, you'll get every episode as they drop. And again, we will see you next time on In Real Time.